So, in fact, there are many other things which I would love to share with our audience about Pushkraj. He is also running a small podcast or episode. It's called Dongri Keda. So, I suggest everyone to see that. There are many episodes in that, and you'll get a lot of information about outdoor equipment and a lot of other things. So, you must see his channel. It's called Dongri Keda. There is one more thing which I would like to tell you about Pushkraj sir. It's the MAC, the Maharashtra Adventure Council. So basically, he's a part of Maharashtra Adventure Council for almost 6 years now. He's one of the director there, and Maharashtra Adventure Council is a non-profitable organization which helps state department to form a particular guideline about the treks and the adventure activities which are going on in Maharashtra state. So that's what MAC is doing right now. They're doing a very good job, because there are no certain rules or guidelines given by the state of Maharashtra. Correct me if I'm wrong. So
there are now rules, but they are still on paper.
Yes.
We are waiting for the implementation.
So MAC is really doing a lot of things right now. And Pushkraj is helping them to sort out a lot of things. So MAC is the one who is helping out Maharashtrian people or people who are in the outdoor field about the adventure industry.
I just want to add quickly, since you mentioned MAC. So what has happened is, post 1990s. A lot of things have changed in the field of adventure. So I would today define, this is not sort of an official definition, but today I see adventure being carried out in 3 categories.
Right.
One I would call personal adventure.
Okay.
So you and I go for a trek. तो हम डिसाइड कर सकते हैं हमें कहाँ जाना है, क्या करना है, कहाँ खाना है, कहाँ रहना है, कहाँ सोना है, कितनी देर चलना है, वो सब हम डिसाइड कर सकते हैं. Because we are going on our own responsibility.
Right.
हमें लोगों से कोई मतलब नहीं है. हम मंदिर में सो सकते हैं, फुटपाथ पे सो सकते हैं, नहीं सो सकते हैं, जो भी हम मन में आए, हमें जो मन में आए हम वो कर सकते हैं. So this is personal adventure. Then there is this category called organized adventure, where you actually take money from people for an organized trek. So Alang Kulang Madan or whatever. Now there are even people who are doing organized climbs like Lingana. Or it could be a valley crossing or rappelling, waterfall rappelling. So you advertise, you take money from people, so it's run as a business. Now the critical difference here is, in the personal adventure, we are going on our own responsibility. हम अपनी जिम्मेदारी पे जा रहे हैं. जब आप लोगों के साथ जा रहे हो, लोगों से पैसे लेके उन्हें लेके जा रहे हो, तो उनकी सुरक्षा की जिम्मेदारी ऑर्गेनाइजर पे आ जाती है.
Absolutely.
So there is a transfer of responsibility on the organizer. Now you can't do whatever you please, because you are now responsible for the safety of the participants. Now for the participants, there could be an 8-year-old boy, there could be a 75-year-old person. There could be people with reasonable trekking experience, but there could be people with zero trekking experience. You can't take anything for granted. There could be somebody with blood pressure, there could be somebody with diabetes, there could be somebody with a stent in his heart. Now you have to take care of all these things. So this is what I call an organized adventure. Then the third, which I would call applied adventure. So for example, a children's nature camp or a adventure camp, where you're using adventure for personality development or whatever you want to call that, or the entire business of outdoor management development, where you're using outdoor and adventure as a medium for training. So it's not just adventure for adventure's sake.
Right.
It is still organized adventure because you are actually selling a product to the people, but there is an objective to it. So there is personal adventure, there is organized adventure, and what I call as applied adventure. And especially in the second two, the responsibility of people's safety is becoming more and more critical, and that is where MAC came in. I'm not going into the long history of the GR. The tourism department of Maharashtra government has actually released adventure policy in August 2021, but it has a long history. I'm not going back. This is actually the third GR in a series of official documents, and the work for this began way back in 2006. But I'm not going into that history. There are actually videos on the Mac
Right.
YouTube channel.
Website.
You can see that. But Mac was actually established to ensure that we get a good practical set of rules from the government, because you can't blame them. People sitting in the Ministry of Tourism actually are unaware of what rules should we have, because we have never had rules.
Right.
You can always complain कि हिंदुस्तान में कोई रूल फॉलो नहीं करते, लेकिन रूल है ही नहीं ना, तो फॉलो कैसे करेंगे लोग? So the basic objective of MAC was to help the Ministry of Tourism formulate a GR which would benefit the entire community. So the GR is still not, I would not say it is 100% foolproof. There are still things that can be improved, but at least compared to the first two GRs, which were totally impractical, this is still a huge improvement. But unfortunately, 3 years have passed, but the GR is still, it has not got off the ground. There are a lot of implementation steps which have not happened, and currently MAC is trying to push the government. And in all this, this whole aspect of developing outdoor leaders has been a completely ignored area, and I think it's an extremely critical point for the growth and proper growth with safety of the two categories, which is organized adventure and applied adventure, because I think it's a crying need. Outdoor leader, ये concept ही आज तक काफी लोगों को पता ही नहीं है.
Absolutely.
So we have hundreds and hundreds of climbers, trekkers, mountaineers, but very few, a handful of outdoor leaders, and that to me is a huge gap to be filled.
No, in fact, today's our main topic is we need more good outdoor leaders and not just mountaineers or climbers.
Absolutely.
This is what we are going to talk about.
Absolutely.
So when we talk about we need more outdoor leaders, in fact, good outdoor leaders, what comes to your mind?
So I'm going to say something which might actually anger some people. It can be seen as a very controversial statement, but the last 5-6 years I have seen enough and more examples, and not 5-6 years, actually more, and all these examples are now supporting this statement of mine. You can be a very good mountaineer, you can go and climb very difficult peaks in the Himalayas, you can be a great rock climber, but that does not mean it will make you a good outdoor leader.
Absolutely.
An outdoor leader requires the basic outdoor skills. You need to know how to anchor, you need to know how to belay, you need to how to set up a traverse. All that you anyway need to know, which a climber or a mountaineer knows. But an outdoor leader requires some additional skills and competencies which a climber or a mountaineer may or may not require. So a good climber or a mountaineer necessarily does not make a good outdoor leader. And the problem is that in India, there is no mechanism to create outdoor leaders. I mean, I'm sure you have seen many such examples. A small trekking company or a trekking club, how do they hire people? Whether they are contractual, like outdoor experts, कि 3 दिन आओ, 3 दिन के ट्रैक पे आप आउटडोर लीडर करके काम करो, आपको उसके इतने पैसे मिलेंगे. 3 days after that, bye bye. Or you might actually hire a person full time in your company. How are these people hired today? So typically somebody will say कि वो मेरा एक दोस्त है, वो मैंने उसके साथ बहुत ट्रैक किए हैं, तो वो भी काम करना चाहता है, तो he will come and meet you. मैं उनसे कि अच्छा तुम्हारा एक्सपीरियंस बताओ. तो हाँ, मैं 4-5 साल से ट्रैक कर रहा हूँ, हिमालय में भी 2 ट्रैक किए हैं, और इस साल बेसिक कोर्स भी कर लिए. अरे वेरी गुड, कल से ज्वाइन कर लो. सो रीजनेबल ट्रैकिंग एक्सपीरियंस and basic course in mountaineering is usually enough qualification to start working in this field.
To become a
I am not saying basic mountaineering course is bad. That is not what I am saying. Anybody who wants to do the course, please go and do the course. I am not against basic mountaineering course. But unfortunately, what has happened is, what people don't realize is a basic mountaineering course only creates basic mountaineers. It does not create outdoor leaders. And that is a huge gap. So an outdoor leader requires many other things. the person should, I'm not saying the person should be a BA in psychology, but the person should be curious about human behavior.
Absolutely.
The person should know what to observe, what to see, what signals to watch in participants, saying, I need to pay more attention to this. The person should have decision making powers. And there are several issues which are, with every passing day, becoming more and more critical. For example, gender sensitivity. I am sure no mountaineering course, whether it is basic, advanced, search and rescue, or even method of instruction, ever even touches this subject.
Absolutely.
It's becoming a more and more critical subject with every passing day. There are tricky issues to be handled on an outdoor program, which a basic mountaineering course doesn't teach you. I'll give you two quick examples. Imagine a 11, 12-year-old girl.
Mm-hmm.
It's a tricky age. And she is going for a 7-day outdoor camp. Her mother will be worried.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for various reasons. Is your organization capable of assuring the mother that we will handle all eventualities? Do we have outdoor leaders who understand what a 11, 12-year-old girl is going through?
Right.
Yeah. Does a basic mountaineering course teach this?
Absolutely no.
And it's not meant to teach this. I'm not blaming the basic mountaineering course. I'm saying it does not fulfill the need of an outdoor leader. Or speaking about gender sensitivity, I'll give you a common example. And I've seen this happen so many times. Typically on a corporate program, the gender ratio is skewed towards men. It's very common to have a group of 20 participants with 17 men and 3 women. 18 men, 2 women. Sometimes there are all men groups. So often I have seen in the past, 8, 10 years ago, let's say there's an activity like grappling. एक जाता है करके आता है, दूसरा जाता है, थोड़ा डरता है, फिर तीसरा नीचे बोल रहा होता है नहीं और एक जाने दो, उसके बाद मैं जाऊंगा. तो people are encouraging him, अरे जाओ कुछ नहीं होता है. Finally what happens is somebody who's been avoiding, he goes up and then he says कि नहीं मुझसे नहीं होगा, डर लग रहा है. And the outdoor expert tells him, अरे सर वो मैडम ने भी कर लिया, आप करो ना.
Gender.
I have heard this being said very often.
Yeah, absolutely.
Today, in the organization which I told you Vasant and Munal started and I am associated with them, now we are teaching the outdoor leaders about this and we are telling them you are not going to say this.
Not to mention. Very true.
Yeah, because a woman can take objection. How dare you say this? And I have actually had this experience with deans of a very prestigious engineering institute across the country. I was doing a program for them, usual group, 18, 20 men and 2 women. And one a person in the mid-50s, rappelling करके वापस आने के बाद, in the debriefing he said, मैं तो ऐसे करने नहीं वाला था, लेकिन मैंने मैडम को भी देखा, उन्होंने कर लिया, फिर मैंने सोचा मुझे तो करना ही पड़ेगा. And the woman was livid. She just, at that point, she said, you have to apologize to me. How dare you say this?
Saying this.
She was extremely angry. And now she was only angry. He apologized and she accepted the apology. The day is not very far where a lady could actually sue you. Now, we are still not a country where people are suing companies at the drop of a hat, but who knows what will happen later. Because you can be actually sued for sexual discrimination. How can you say that कि लड़की ने भी कर लिया तो आप कर सकते? You can always say कि सर सबने किया है तो आप ट्राई तो करो. You cannot say a woman has done it now. Which basic mountaineering course teaches this? So there are these sensitivity issues, there are tricky issues, decision making issues. For example, you have a campsite where participants are going to reach at, let's say, 7 o'clock in the evening. They have left Mumbai at 3 o'clock. And you know that there is one section of the road where there is no phone network. So you are expecting them to reach by 7. 7:15, 7:30, 7:45. You are trying to call them, phone नहीं लग रहा है. Now at what point will you press the panic button? आप 7:30 बजे कुछ एक्शन लोगे, 8 बजे, 8:15 बजे, रात को 10 बजे, और क्या एक्शन लोगे? Will you call their concerned head office and inform them that they've still not reached? Will you send somebody? What will you do? अब ये कौन सा माउंटेनिंग कोर्स ये सिखाता है? So outdoor leadership is an entirely different issue. I have nothing against basic mountaineering course. People should go and do it, but it only makes you a basic mountaineer. We need more outdoor leaders. और अभी हिंदुस्तान में उसके लिए कोई मैकेनिज्म ही नहीं है. There are only a handful of courses. For example, Knowles USA runs a course in the Indian Himalayas. One, it is prohibitive by price, and there aren't too many seats. Look at the hundreds and hundreds of young people. आज महाराष्ट्र में संधन वैली हो, पाचनई हरिश्चंद्रगढ़ एरिया हो, कितने सारे ऐसे युवक हैं जो आज इस बिजनेस में आ गए हैं. संधन वैली इज अ प्राइम एग्जाम्पल. वहां पे सारे उस वहीं के गांव के युवक है ना जो वहां पे काम कर रहे हैं. अभी इन युवकों को ये नोल्स का कोर्स वो कब करेंगे और उनके पास इतने पैसे कब आएंगे? तो उनके लिए कोर्स ही नहीं है. तो ये एक बहुत बड़ी समस्या है अपने यहाँ.
So what should be the proper guideline for all this? I mean, there has to be some way out.
Yes, there has to be some way out. So in fact, MAC has actually taken up an initiative. We hope that it will,
come up very soon.
get to where we want it to. So what we did was we actually designed a course for outdoor leaders. It was a 4-day course. We ran it as a, what should I say, as a showcase, to showcase ki this is how a course should be. We actually just spread the news about it by word of mouth. We got around 18 participants, and myself and another associate in MAC, Shiri Sasrubude, my good friend, we both conducted the course, and Dr. Milind Chitay was also there. So we conducted the 4-day course, and we have documented the curriculum, and we have sent it to the Ministry of Tourism, saying that you should give recognition to this course, saying that this is a outdoor leaders course that you should go and do. At the same time, we are not saying that one Pushkraj Apte is enough or he is the only person qualified to teach everybody in Maharashtra. मैं बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं कह रहा हूँ. हमने ये भी कहा है मंत्रालय को कि we will do a train the trainer course. We will create people who will conduct outdoor leader courses. And let us imagine that instead of that 1 or 2 courses which happen in the Himalayas, imagine that if a course happens in Mumbai, Nashik, Kolhapur, Sangli, Aurangabad, and Pune, let us say one course happens every 4 months, which means 3 courses in every city, which means about 15 to 18 courses with 20 people each happening every year in Maharashtra. Even that would be insufficient.
Yes,
अगर महाराष्ट्र के इन 6-7 शहरों में हर साल 3 कोर्सेज होते हैं ना, वो भी पर्याप्त नहीं है. इतनी बड़ी जरूरत है. कई 100 लोग आज इस फील्ड में काम कर रहे हैं और उन्हें इस ट्रेनिंग की जरूरत है. सो लेट अस होप दैट द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टूरिज्म विल टेक कॉग्निजेंस. लेट अस होप दे रिकॉग्नाइज दिस एंड मोर सच कोर्सेज. I think there are mechanisms in which the government can subsidize these courses, where these young people from small villages, even they can afford it. And let's hope that.
So initially we must focus on Maharashtra because Maharashtra is our prime focus area.
Absolutely.
But as you rightly mentioned that this need is for the entire India. And there are so many companies who are working in the field of adventure or outdoor leadership. Or there are many other things like trekking in the Himalayas, adventure sports, climbing in Absolutely. And there are many ways, but you really, really need a good outdoor leader. And if you really want to become an outdoor leader, you have to have some curriculum set by the Ministry of Government or Tourism Department or whichever department it is.
It could be, one day I would actually like to see a Ministry of Adventure in the country.
Absolutely.
Really.
Absolutely.
If you look at India, क्या नहीं है हमारे पास? No, we have forests, we have deserts, we have mountains, we have rivers, we have lakes, we have the ocean, we have island. So water, air, land. आप मुझे एक एडवेंचर एक्टिविटी बता दो जो भारत में नहीं
होती है.
And look at the population. India's age, when you look at the active age of India, is called 28-29, which is the prime youth. We have millions of people who are just waiting कि मैं कहाँ जाऊँ,
to do something in
and who
adventure.
is going to be the outdoor leader for these people. So it could be the ministry, for example, it could be ATOI, or it could be anyone else.
Anyone
But
else.
people who are already in this business, or who have been into this field, who are now touching 50, 60, 70 people like me, it is our responsibility to actually create these courses and create these opportunities for the next generation.
In fact, to tell you a very interesting fact about the number of companies that we have in India, it might be more than 10,000 or maybe more
I will
than
not
that.
be surprised. I will not be surprised.
It's a huge count. And to be very frank with the audience, because this is very important to tell you guys, that there is no certain course, there is no such course where they teach you about how to become an outdoor leader. So this is very crucial at this point of time.
In fact, not just since you're talking about business, another thing that has changed over the years, if I compare the atmosphere in Pune and Mumbai in the 80s and 90s and what I'm seeing now, there used to be this club culture in Pune. In fact, the joke then was कि अगर पुणे में 4 दोस्त हैं तो उनमें 5 क्लब होते हैं, मतलब हर चारों दोस्त एक एक क्लब के मेंबर होते हैं और चारों का मिला के एक क्लब होता है. तो ऐसा एक जोक था एक जमाने में. तो क्लब कल्चर इज स्लोली गोइंग अवे. There are still clubs. I'm not saying there are no clubs. There are still clubs. Chakram Hikers is a shining example.
Absolutely.
Girivehar is a shining example in Mumbai. But today, more and more people are taking to this adventure as a full-time business. And running it as a voluntary club is one thing. Running it as a business is an entirely different thing. I'm not saying one is good or bad. But the club culture has slowly given way to business. And when it comes to business, you need proper documentation, you need proper logs, you have to look after so many other things. In fact, the entire aspect of documentation is missing in our country.